So Adam, your paper, which updates us on progress on improvement and on what will be very successful improvement faculty day. Take the paper as read, highlight anything you'd like to highlight, and then we'll ask questions.
Okay, well, I think just two or three things I wanted to pull out. One is the work of the faculty moving at increasing pace now, with faculty members really wanting to drive some work forward. One or two things have been mentioned. The digital outpatients work that we kicked off in the last few weeks is now really gathering some momentum, and links in perhaps with the point about data and technology that you've just mentioned. We've also had a really good conversation with one of the clinicians on the group who wants to take forward some work around clinical leadership of improvement, and linking with Kathy as well from the faculty. So I think there's some momentum really being built, and the event where we really launched the faculty, I think, has helped to energise that group as well as the wider community. As you say, I think really good feedback. The first improvement newsletter has been sent out today to everyone attending the event and all staff, and I'm assuming the non-executives as well as the executives will get it. It's emailed in the last few minutes, so I hope we'll make sure that comes out if it hasn't already done so. But there's a video summarising the event and a lot more information there. The other point towards the end, the national strategy work continues, or strategic framework, with an intended publication date of the first version of that in October. Ed jointly chairs that group, and we've got expert advice as well as membership of all the arm's length bodies, which really is setting out the framework to enable improvement and leadership across the service. Lots of engagement in that, which will continue, and being well received in terms of the work to date. And finally, just reflecting on the last board development session we had, which most people in the group were able to attend, where we had inputs from Michael West and also the Behavioural Insights team. We followed that up with some of the exec leads and a brief discussion at this week's ExCo meeting to really understand how, in light of those conversations, we're changing our approach. I had a meeting yesterday with the Behavioural Insights team again to look at some work we may be able to take forward with them. But it really, if the board were interested in any more update, I think Jim and Kathy are able to talk. Unfortunately, Bob's not with us on the finance work, but some reflections alternatively that can just be left as read, and the executive team will continue to work on that approach.
Thank you. Some questions, Sarah?
Well, just to comment, I went to the morning of the launch of the Improved Faculty, which was incredibly well attended, very enthusiastic. Just a simple thing, sitting on my table, to one side of me was a woman who was putting together a transaction at one end of the country, and the other side of me was a woman who's already done the almost identical transaction, and they didn't know about each other, and just swapping the emails across the table of, well, I can tell you how to do that because we've done it. So I suggested to Adam, a really easy thing we can do is literally a spreadsheet of email addresses, say this person has done this type of deal, that we could share, because the learning is all around the country, and it's just hard to find the right people and put them together. So I thought that was really powerful.
I think one of the bits of feedback I had from a chief exec was that their head of transformation had said it was the best day he's ever spent in the NHS in his career. And I think it wasn't that great today. But it was a sense that someone who leads transformation in isolation suddenly was connected with such a wide community, and so many of those conversations, and the market stalls, people saying, we could just do that, we didn't realise you were doing it. So the whole point about the oxygenating the system that you often describe, I think it was a really good starting point to movement.
Picking Sarah's point up, though, and this oxygenation and this bubbling up, I mean, we do have, do we not, a portal?
So we have the
where we
improvement
are
directory.
Loading good ideas.
Yep.
I've done this before, coming back to where we started, hello, my name is, I have done. You could create a real movement around this using either email or
so I think we have the improvement directory, and I think it's the highest used part of our website, which is an encouraging start. I think the conversation we're now taking is how do we build a platform that goes beyond that, because it tends to be signalling people to where there's best practice. which often is the nice is of this world or other people, rather than the struggling trusts that are known as struggling on A&E but are doing some brilliant work on sepsis, and giving a vehicle to share some of that. So we're looking to turn the website into a platform that can include kind of forum,
webinars. Online discussion forum would be
Exactly.
an obvious.
And using social media as well, which increasingly the team within their resource are trying to use digital as a way of connecting, because those people in a different generation to me kind of talk of websites as being dead now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so working with Roy Lilly on his kind of blogs and that kind of network. So a lot of work going in that area, very much picking on how do we take it from the recognised, well-tested best practice through to we've done some good stuff here, we'd like to share it
Here's
with
an actual
somebody.
person you can talk to.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
That was exactly the approach that the joint improvement team in Scotland had, and you know, call it a portal, call it whatever, but just good ideas.
Yeah.
I've done this before, how about you? It's a very, very interesting, because they do health and care on an integrated basis, and it was fascinating. I think I'm going up there actually in the autumn to see it, and I'd encourage other people to.
Yeah, we went up a little while ago. Interestingly, they specifically don't do A&E, RTT. They keep it out as far more generic improvement building for reasons of engagement or whatever. But you're right, it's about the community, and the sense from the IHI and other experts feel that the English NHS has more improvement capability than any other system, but we've just not yet connected it in a way that Scotland or Wales or a number of other parts of the world have. So that's fundamentally our job as the network, and to bring people together.
Agreed. Other questions on the improvement report? Can I just raise two then? One is, Jim, to make sure that we are doing absolutely everything practical across our organisation on reducing the regulatory blockages, barriers, to enable the vanguards to do, to be successful, and the whole perspective of our organisation is how can we do this as opposed to how we can't.
Absolutely. Will do, and I think we should bring a paper back as in addition to the paper later on 20, just on what our approach is to supporting new models, what have we learned, what works, what doesn't work, and what does it mean for us as a regulator and improvement. But it's maybe September, October we should try and do.
And the second point, I don't know about colleagues, but I continue to be a big supporter of behavioural insights, and David Halpern's intervention at the development day that we had. I would genuinely like us to execute on the use of the behavioural insights team rather than talk about it. So can we, if the board are supportive of using behavioural insights, which is deep social science, this is expertise, can we?
Well, Ed, we had a perfect example earlier, maybe talking about these spikes in A&E usages and how we don't fully understand, what's driving that, and there'll be all sorts of factors driving it, no doubt. But actually, a behavioural insights team, might be a very useful addition to that, and also in terms of remedies, kind of nudge type remedies. But I'm sure you've got that on board.
And in the work Adam mentioned, we're talking to them about commissioning some work, and one of them is, first one would be supporting special measures, so financial special measures to get the right behavioural response rather than the more complicated plan.
Absolutely.
And also working on the ED support, because you're absolutely right. And the thing that I remember most of the last few months is during the junior strike, attendance has fell dramatically.
Yes, and we still don't
that
fully
tells
know
us
why.
something about behaviour, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We don't understand.
Yeah. So I echo what Ed just said. I think we've got a lot of use we could make of behavioural insights experts.
So however we do it, just contract with them, get them in, get them doing stuff, and please. I think you've got the board's support.
They may be watching this and negotiating this harder tomorrow.
Well, there are other behavioural insight teams in the country. We could possibly put it out to tender, but I'm more keen on getting this stuff done in a way which helps us learn how to use behavioural insight. Sorry, Glynis, you can.
I always think it's useful to have at least two perspectives in terms of behaviour change. Because it tends to be the case that a team that talks about behaviour change has a particular model of how behaviour change
Yeah.
should occur, and then another team will have a different model. And actually, if you've got two teams thinking about a problem for you, 9 times out of 10, it's really
So
much
that's
more effective.
Adam's point last week.
So we're already doing some work with the DH, Behaviour Insights team, in other areas. We're doing some work with Helix Centre, who are very much about design solutions. So we met, let's say, with the Behavioural Insights unit yesterday, and we're talking about how do we define actually what we want them to help us with, rather than come and help us and we'll work it through. And I think to play different people into the equation is helpful, as you say.
I really do think that this point about knowing what you want help with is fundamental in this. So, yeah, absolutely. Analyse the problem to some extent first, which takes us back to the data analytics.
Yeah.
I think one final point on that, I think, so not directly commissioned with us, but they're doing some work around elective activity at the moment, particularly in Medway, about understanding that the history of the NHS, even when high-profile struggling hospitals still have queues of people at the door, and understanding why the kind of perception that you would, as an empowered customer, would choose where you go still change the way. They found some interesting bits already in that we will benefit from in terms of our work.
Good. Thank you, and well done with the improvement day.
Thank you.